like I said, we have being an unusual time of the day. We'll have people coming to and fro, so we might have like a third of the studio, a quarter of it.
I'm glad that any of you are here. That's good. So, and Candace, are you going to play as well?
Yeah, I'm playing excerpts. So it can be like Princess Leia's thing or anything.
Whichever one you will be deciding. That's good. So Cole, I'll probably stand up here while you play.
Okay.
Nicole is a bachelor of music in composition, so
Yeah.
we often talk about if the work is good enough.
Cole, did you pick this piece to play?
I did. I was playing a Mercadante concerto, and I didn't care for it. So Dr. Luce gave me some options.
Well, you've been doing a lot of Jean, so.
Oh, yeah.
I have the first and the third movements prepared, so I'll start with the first.
Yeah. Ryan, how we have kind of time?
It should be 20-ish or so, but I'll.
Okay. So, do you want to do this like the performance, play one movement and then work, or do two movements and then work?
Maybe we can do like one and then work on it. If that works.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
wonderful to see. You look pretty relaxed when you're playing, which is great. So what are some of the things that you've been working on in this movement when you've been working?
We've been working on trying to like bring out the minor thirds because they're all over the place, kind of the themes
Yes.
there, and also trying to be expressive, not because I feel like it's easier for me to be expressive going like ascending, but there's a lot of descending motion too, and making sure that's not lost.
Yes. So I think those are great things to work on. One thing that I heard when you were playing, your beautiful sound. What is the dynamic here at the opening?
Piano.
Piano. And then where are we in the second line?
Pianissimo.
Pianissimo. But where is the whole movement going? Where is your peak of volume and expression? Yeah. But what I wanted to hear was more of that arch.
Okay.
Right? You started beautiful. I mean, everything you did was beautiful. I think as flutists, why did you pick the flute?
Actually, it was totally arbitrary.
Oh.
But I liked it a lot, so I stuck with it.
For me, it was the sound of the flute. And I think a lot of times as flutists, we love the sound of it. And it just sounds really good in that sort of mezzo forte, forte range, right? So, like, oh, I could just like live in that sound, right? Piano, not so much. But if you can start, I think a lot of times as flutists, we work to play really correctly and beautifully all the time. And in this kind of music, it's kind of heady and intelligent, kind of. So that contrast is what we need more of. So let's find the place where you want to be your loudest, and we're going to build into that. Because then we're going to use that sort of as our gauge. If we say this double forte at the tempo, if we're on a volume dial, I don't even know, we're probably too young for dials, but if you were to use a volume button and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll say fortissimo is our 5. We want to be all the way at 5. So that when we get to a piano, which is maybe a 2 on a round dial, we can have an idea of the scale we're after, okay? So let's build into, where's your favorite spot to build into that?
Like going directly into it?
Yes, this is a good place to
Yeah.
start. And where are we down here?
Like pianissimo.
Pianissimo, okay, so if we were on a scale of 1 to 5, pianissimo would be our volume number 1. Piano, number 2, 3 would be what, do you think? Mezzo piano. 4 is like mezzo forte. 5, we'll say forte, but okay, we're going to aim for 6, right?
Okay.
So we're going to start at a 1 and go to a 6. But before we do that, let's try on your favorite note, right? What is your absolute favorite note to play?
I don't know, but there's a D right there.
Okay, let's do the D. All right, so can you play a D at a level 6? So this is a fortissimo D. Okay, so for that D, you like to stand on one foot when you play. Can you find balance in sort of both of your feet?
Okay.
And use the whole space. Use the room to your advantage. So instead of forcing the sound, you just sort of work to fill the room. So you don't have to blow harder. I just want you to sort of increase your awareness. So we're going to play that D, and with your feet nice, however you want to balance. But you need both of them. Because our power as flutists comes from the bottom of our body. This is where we have large muscle groups, right? Everything is like, this is our force, right? When you limit that, you cut it in half by standing on one foot.
Okay.
Right? So we're going to play that D, and I'm just going to think about playing that D and filling the space in front of me, behind me, above me, and below me. So I'm sort of this little human in this bubble of sound that surrounds the little room. Listen to the difference. If I just play a D, okay, now I'm going to imagine the whole space. What did you hear in the sound that changed?
I feel like I could hear the octave for 1.
Yeah, okay? So we want to take advantage of all of the space as well as the body. So try that D again with both feet on the floor and imagining that sound just enveloping you. And from all sides, above you, below you, behind you, in front of you. How did that feel?
Better. It took a while to kind of figure out.
Yeah, no, and let's live with that for a minute. So this is going to be our 5 on a scale of 1 to 5. So fortissimo,
Okay.
forte. Try your most beautiful, relaxed forte. Go for it. Space behind. Good. Above you. Around you. Okay. Are we happy with that as a 5?
Could be a little louder.
It could be a little louder, but for now it's relaxed and it's full and it's resonant. Okay. And it's so cadence and jack. What did you hear? Did you hear anything change in the sound when he played his first D as opposed to his very last one.
I thought he was more confident.
Yeah, he had a little bit more. When we use the space, like you use the space, you can use that as like sort of your assistant in creating the sound. So let's go the other way. Let's go. We're going to do that same D, right? Start forte. We're going to stop and take a breath, and then start at number 1. So then we'll try pianissimo. Okay? So forte, big beautiful D. Lovely. Now, 1 pianissimo. So that is a beautiful, almost niente. So pianissimo, I think when we, as flutists, we're like, oh, I'm gonna get it, it's gonna be so soft, it's gonna be awesome. Pianissimo is the softest you can play with a beautiful sound. Like sound though. So I loved you niente, so maybe you were like -5 on the scale, right? So let's try that, your most beautiful, lovely D, pianissimo, with your best sound. And just like fortissimo, we want to take advantage of the room, right? So if I'm squeezing to be soft, so if I'm squeezing, but if I imagine like a nice ooh shape in my mouth, like a vowel shape, and I take advantage of the space, it's not as soft as I can play, but that's going to be much different than. So we just want to hear that contrast, okay? So your most beautiful D, gently and softly, on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1. Good. Imagine, oh, that was a beautiful love. I love the sound. Now find the space behind you, above you, around you. Lovely. And you're going to be balanced on your feet. You're going to take advantage of your power. All right, so here's level 1, so it's our pianissimo. Try one again. Oh, no, we're going to get louder. So pianissimo is level 1. Let's try. Big, beautiful. Take advantage of your space. There you go. Level 2 is piano. Level 3 is piano. And then 4, 5, all your space. And then 1. Back to 1. Yeah. So working this with a tuner or a drone tone is really helpful because it's trying to keep all of these in tune as you get louder. But there's our scale. All right, so can we create that scale in the music now?
Okay.
So experiment with it. Know that here we want to be a little softer, and then we're at our loudest here, which is easier because of also the register. All right, let's try it. Find your nice balance in your feet. That contrast from pianissimo all the way up to fortissimo, as opposed to your first one?
I feel like I was being more intentional with the dynamics, which was also making me forget how to play the notes.
That's okay. And when you're working on stuff like this is why when you're practicing, I like to practice no matter how fast I'm going, if I'm learning something new, even if I'm going a slow tempo, I try to put the dynamics that I'm going to want eventually in my practice when I'm going slowly, so that when I move things faster, it's all there and not having to relearn. But you did great. There was much more contrast that time, which is excellent. We're going to try this one more time. And this time, don't worry if you mess up the notes. I'm asking you to do things that you're like some crazy lady came from Arkansas, it's like dying in the Arizona desert. It is. I don't know how you play here. I am like constantly dehydrated and my lips are chapped. Anyway, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, but don't worry about the notes. We're listening for the musical shape because you can play the notes, Cole. You play with a lovely sound. We want to hear shape. A lot of times flute players, we love the sound and we just play mezzo forte all the time. And you know, audiences, like most of the time, we're used to playing for flutists, but when you go and play for actual audiences, I mean, they just want to be touched, right? They want to feel something, they want to hear something musical. So if you can make those contrasts for them, that's who you're playing for. So try one more time. This time, you're going to, again, think about that balance on your feet. This time I want you to use the space around you. So imagine that awareness of the space around you and use it to help you create those shapes with volume, okay? So you're going to imagine the space around you, behind you, above you, below you, and in front of you. I might get behind you, not because I'm creepy, but just because I want you to be aware of that space, yeah? All right, let's try. Here's step 2. Find all your space. Find all the space around. Big. Here's the big. Find your feet. Let all the weight of your body go to your feet. Open it up. Drop the jaw. Find your space. Mezzo forte. Beautiful. Make them wait. How'd that feel? Good. Yeah. Did you hear anything that was different this time compared to his first time? Anybody?
More deliberate.
Yeah. Yeah. How did it feel in your body that time?
Good. It's cool to listen to the room. It's like this whole other dimension.
It is. It's like, you know, when in the theater they call it the fourth wall or whatever. But for us, the space really makes a difference. And if you get really nervous when you play, I know a lot of us get performance anxiety. I do. Coming into the space and sort of grounding yourself in the space, or being aware of how large it is, will help the body sort of open up and relax the muscles and relax the breathing, so that you're not. Yeah. So that's one thing. So I know we have to stop here. We're done, yeah? But this is what we just worked on in this little bit. We want to apply that to the whole thing. I think you can take so much more time at the opening. I know it's questioning. I mean, questioning. When you sit there asking a question, do you sit there and like have an answer immediately? I don't know. So if you can make people wait for it while you take advantage of the space, I think it's going to help. Let's try the first line one more time. Take all the time in the world. Don't worry about being correct for a minute. Just think about the questioning. Make them wait. I mean, I took a little liberty there. But if you can experiment with extremes, then when you are working on more deliberate performance, it'll be easier. Try to make it questioning. Yeah. This is why I play the flute, can't sing. All right. You are asking this question, Cole, into the deep abyss. You have all these beautiful mountains here. Your humidity, I could live without, but your mountains are amazing. So you're on a mountain, and you're just asking the question. Again, embody the whole space. Breath is the question, right? Take your time. The breath is part of the phrase. everything had its place and it was good. This is what I wrote, mostly. Questions about anything we did? I know we have to stop.
No,
No?
yeah.
Sound great. Well done. All right. All right. So who's next? Candace? Okay. So which one are you? Oh, okay.
No.
Have you seen the movie? The original movie?
No.
Actually, neither have I. High five! I haven't seen it either. But so when I was in England, my teacher, Peter Lloyd, was in the London Symphony, and he is the flutist on the original soundtrack.
Oh,
I know this is
wow.
like my only claim to fame with this piece because I've never actually seen the movie either. But who has seen the movie? Jack, Cole.
I saw it in the original.
Oh, okay. So what is happening in what is happening in the movie in this part with the big solo? Does anybody remember?
She's in the prison cell.
She's in the prison cell. Yes. Okay. So does that what it sounds like?
Now that I have that in mind, I would say that.
Yeah. You play with a beautiful sound. You play with a beautiful sound and lovely phrasing, and your rhythm is good. I mean, the hard part about doing this in an audition, right? Because you want to be expressive and you want to be beautiful. But in these orchestral auditions, you have to do all that and show that you can count.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard part about this. We'll get to the counting part in a minute. Yours is actually pretty good. It gets a little
That section.
yeah. Sometimes the little ties get a little off. But we'll work on some of the other stuff first and then come back to the rhythm things. Have you done auditions before, or like professional auditions, or any kind of auditions outside of school?
Mostly they're just for like ensemble.
Yeah, and I think for most of us, that's our first step, is those ensemble auditions. And one thing that I think is important to remember, as flutists, again, we're always thinking about the beauty of the sound and is our technique accurate. The people on the other side of the curtain, because there's always a million of us, right? Flutists are the awesome, but there's always many more of us than there are spaces for us. So when you go to an audition, whether it's your school audition or it's some kind of professional audition, there will always be mobs of flutists. So how do you think they eliminate them in a professional scene? Which also is going to help you here when you're auditioning. How do they eliminate people? Because most people are really good. So how would they eliminate people in an audition? In the first round?
I would say like any mistakes.
Mistakes,
like
yeah.
Basic mistakes.
Basic mistakes. But you know what's even more of a red flag than even the basic mistakes? Rhythm. Right. So I've taken at some point in my life, before I became a professor, I had won a job in the Navy band in Washington D.C. So it was like a flute and piccolo job, and I had made the finals for other jobs like in the military, and I would advance and then I'd get to the end, and then inevitably something would happen. But this job that I did end up winning, which I couldn't take because I got kicked out of boot camp. So yeah, right. It's the horrible part of my story. But I did actually win an audition, and the way I did it was just like I knew the notes. I knew I could play the pieces. I worked like I imagined a percussionist would work. So that rhythm is the way that they knock people out. So if you can keep a beautiful, steady pulse with good rhythm, and you do all the other things like beautiful sound that you have, and beautiful phrasing that you also have, and good intonation, like you will get hopefully onto the next round. Sometimes you won't, but most of the time, if you can nail those aspects, especially the rhythm, that is the number one thing, because there's always a percussionist on the other side. At least that was my experience. When they took down the curtain at that Navy band audition for the finals, you could see the percussionists because they're there while you're playing, and they're like a little like human metronomes in the back. So ways I would work. We'll talk about rhythm first. The ways how have you worked on the pulse and things in this?
I was like, for this piece, I mostly listened to the recording, and then for like the session, kind of before this part, I've been working with a metronome, but for here, I was kind of messing with the rubato, so I didn't use the metronome.
Yeah, so I mean, in instances like that where you have some rubato, you want to show that you can do the rubato, but you also want to kind of be rubato in tempo. So things that will work to help keep the rhythm just mostly steady overall is clap and count. So you don't even need the flute for this, but it may not help you a ton in here. It might help with the ties, but when you're playing faster things like William Tell, things like that, in new practicing, it's going to help you a lot with that kind of thing. So the way to do it, and you won't need your flute for this actually. This goes for everybody. So what you're going to do, and we won't. This is if you've never done it. Do you all have the music to this? Do you have the princess? Okay, so it's just you and I, Candace. So we're going to start here before 19, and we're going to just try to get through some of the topics. All right. Okay. So we won't do the whole thing because we don't have time. But let's go from here to let's do 4 bars, right? Because I think that'll probably be enough if you've never done it. And what tempo are you liking for this on your metronome? Yeah, you don't want to be in 12/8. I'm sorry, my metronome at like 148. Let's see. Too fast?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so we can all try this. Can you all like tap your feet to the beat of the quarter note? So you can even if you're not playing this, we can all do it. So you're gonna tap your foot to the big beat. So this is your quarter note. 1. Okay, now we're gonna subdivide with our voice. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
1 and 2.
You can all do it.
And 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Great. That is the first step, okay? Because now we're going to clap the rhythm that is on the page in our hands while we tap the big beat and count out loud.
Okay.
Which, in theory, seems like it should be pretty easy, right? I hope it's easy for you. So we'll just do 2 measures, okay? So we can all do this with Candace. So we'll give you 1 bar for nothing. We'll do it all together. We'll give you 1 bar with the metronome. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, good. Now we're going to do with the metronome. They're going to give us a bar, and then we're going to come in on the and of 4 and clap the rhythm in our hand while we say the subdivisions.
Okay.
Here we go. Fun times. You should have seen me the first time I did it. It's hilarious. Okay, here we go. Ready? At 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So your teacher's like taking it next level by singing while he counts. So this is another way to do it. And if you've not done this with any of your ensemble music or music where you're doing auditions, it works in all cases. It is such a useful tool. It's literally how I won that job, because I would spend more of my time like making sure that my rhythm was you could not argue with it. Maybe now you probably could argue with my rhythm, but then I was just like I was just a beast with the metronome and the clap account. My best friend is a pianist, and he taught me this. And so it's not my own, but pianists, they can play and count out loud. So, how did that feel when you were doing it?
I was very stressed.
Yes. Yeah, it's a little stressful, and it's stressful to do it in front of people. Well, even your colleagues, but you did great. So that is how I would kind of work with the rhythm, and it seems like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
But when it finally starts to feel good and you go back and you play, you will find that those ties, you can be expressive and rhythmic at the same time. And it's like, oh my God. Okay? So that would be the one thing. I mean, that goes for anybody taking orchestral or ensemble auditions. That rhythm is the great eliminator. It is the way that they get rid of people. And if you can do all the things well, which you can, and that, you're going on to the next round, hopefully, right? I mean, you can't control that, but that'll give you a good chance. Okay, so now you know you're in a prison.
Yes.
And what is happening in the prison, Dr. Luce? While she's in prison, what is happening?
She's laying in that famous white gown thing, doing this number right before Moff Tarkin and Darth Vader come in with the interrogation crew. So, not as if I haven't seen this a few times, but yeah.
Okay, so what, if you were in her Princess Leia's position, what might be the things that you're thinking about?
When can I get out of here?
When can I get out of here? But also, like, does this sound, what does the melody sound like to you?
She's kind of hopeful. I feel like, well, it's like kind of sad but hopeful at the same time.
Yeah, and she's probably thinking about somebody she loves, and will I see them again? Okay, so let's play this. Whatever happens with the rhythm, you can work on that.
Okay.
But for now, let's bring that kind of hopefulness to it. And as you do it, can you connect the air between the intervals? Sometimes you play really beautiful. It's something like the octaves.
Yeah.
Sometimes I hear like the octave, the air needs to travel through and over, right? So to make it sound really seamless and smooth, and let's see if I can do this. You want to feel that seamlessness of sound. Can you try that?
Yes.
Think about the air as like a ribbon of between the intervals. See what that does. Yeah. Okay. Now add your hopeful sadness to this little element. Make us ache in this octave. How did that feel?
I feel like I was thinking more about the mood of the piece, so maybe translate it into like how well the octave is jumping.
Yeah. So let's start the opening. Okay. We'll just start right where the theme.
Okay.
And then we'll skip this one here. But try there and find the expression in the intervals, right? A to F sharp. Well, we got a sixth right there. Feel the air is our voice, right? And in lots of cultures, that the flute is a way to express. It's the way to summon spirits. It's the way to connect with the other worlds. So in here, like you feel that connection. Okay? It's our connection to hope. Hope. Try it.
Sorry, my bad. My bad.
Lovely start. The air spins through and connects. of air between the intervals, and also the expression of like feeling what was actually happening. How did that feel?
I felt like I could get more emotion when I was jumping through the intervals, because I feel like before, when there was like not a smooth transition of air, it was kind of abrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would work on that, and then using the metronome to help you keep that in time. The other thing I would encourage you is when you come, how much do you think? 5 minutes? Okay. When you come to ends of phrases and you're running out of air, but it's not just when you're running out of air. Sometimes your vibrato changes.
Yeah.
Can you keep the vibrato spinning through? This is really a hard part about. You've heard this, yeah. So where is a spot where that really becomes a little bit of a challenge for you?
Up here.
Yeah, because you're coming off the mezzo forte and you're getting a little softer. I don't think you need to get all the way soft, because in a minute you're about to be really hangering for home here. So let's try here. Just like we did with Cole, can you think about all the space around you? And when you're in an orchestra and you're seated, it works the same way, right? You're thinking about your place in the orchestra, but also filling the space. And often in an orchestra, you're in a much larger hall, and you have to soar over the violins and all that kind of stuff. So here, when we come here, can you keep that vibrato spinning all the way through? Let's just try this. We're going to take the end of the flute and move it forward through the note. So let's try. I'm just going to keep it traveling just that much. What did you notice about your movement?
I was turning.
Yeah, it's okay. We're going to let it turn, right? So, and we're going to let it be smooth like the air, right? Let's try that much. Yeah, and can we move it here? And you're going to actually move. It's okay, Candace. Yeah. How did that feel?
Oh, I felt more connection.
Yeah. Then we got to do that while we're not moving, because it'll be a little weird, right? So let's try from here, save it, and see if you could just keep that. Because even if I'm standing still, I'm imagining the air doing the movement for me, which is going to help those vocal folds nice and vibrate. Okay, let's try. Good. Let's do the whole bit of that phrase. Should we take a nice breath and open that mouth? Just nice filling breath. Beautiful. Pull through. Go all the way through the high E. Keep going. Well done. Questions about anything you did there?
So for like, in this case, for like the E, I feel like the only reason I was decrescendoing is because I was running out of air. But
Yes.
I guess, like, realistically, when we're doing that exercise just now, would you recommend like keeping the E more full?
I mean, I would diminuendo as well, but on
Okay.
purpose. When you played the very first time, there's a difference when you hear somebody diminuendoing on purpose as opposed to, oh my God, I'm going to run out of my air. And yeah, there's a difference. So I kept it full. I would keep it full a little longer. But yes, you can diminuendo, but it has to have intention. And then let's try it. Do it the way you'd like to do with the diminuendo, but see if you can just be more intentional with it, so that we don't think like, oh, Candace is diminuendoing because she's about to turn blue. Okay. Let's try. bring those, you know, those lips forward. Yeah. So I was like, your teacher has like corners, lips, you know, corners forward. So I like to think of the corners like, and then the little center muscles forward. Yay. Let's try now. How long do we have? 3 minutes. Okay. So now you're going to be our metronome. And we're going to do all that beautiful phrasing you just did, but we're going to try to do it in time.
Okay.
And Cole and Jack are going to be our metronome.
Okay.
Okay, so you liked this tempo here. What is our... okay, gentlemen. Let's give Candace a bar for nothing. So you're going to have the big beat in your feet, and you're just going to be counting human metronome. 1 and 2 and 3. Whenever, just keep. And at the air.
Sorry.
Just keep going. You're doing great.
Better.
Yeah. So that's the trick, right? Doing all these beautiful things that you're doing, but in time, which kind of feels like a little bit like a straitjacket sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the trick is to you start to feel like that pulse underneath is just like the heartbeat that doesn't stop, and you can free to move around.
Yes.
Questions about anything we did?
No.
You
not
sound
like-
great. Thanks for playing. Excellent. So we have one more. Hello. Welcome. What's your name?
It's Marissa.
Welcome. Ballatori. Nice to meet you. So what are you going to play?
I'm going to play the number 30 Chacon from Carl Gellert's
Ah.
number 30 Caprice.
You are brave. Well done.
Well,
Okay. You want to play the whole thing?
yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
Thank graduate studies.
Yeah.
I was doing my doctorate with Dr. Lewis.
Okay. And then what year in your doctorate are you?
First year.
Okay.
No, second year. I'm just kidding. I won't quite been here.
You
So,
sound
no.
great. You have this really beautiful, powerful sound and beautiful, like really nice fast fingers. What are some of the challenges you've had in this?
Let's see. Well, one, I looked at it yesterday.
Oh,
Two, and I played it 10 years ago, once upon a time, and so it was good to like bring it back to kind of review it. I think it's definitely when you get up, you just have to be ready and set, and like also slow your brain down a little bit.
Yes.
When you get to each variation, I think that's the tough part.
for sure, because there are a lot of notes,
Right?
right?
Don't let yourself tighten up on the low notes, just whoo,
Yes,
you know,
it's low
keeping
notes.
it.
Yeah. So the low
grounded.
notes sounded like really, like they were really strong, but then by the time we get to the
Oh,
end,
I got all dried out.
Yeah. Yeah. So things. How have you? What are some things you've already done to start working on that?
I think for this particular variation, I think part of it is I can start getting a little bit buried, so I just kind of reset and like come back up. But
Yeah.
I don't think that helps if you're trying to do it all at once, right? Because you can't reset in this.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, I think like yes, you pulled it out yesterday. This is a really, really challenging. How many of you have played this chaconne from the Cargillard? Yeah. It is like lots of notes. I heard it the one time. I studied it a long time when I was a student, and then I went to a recital, and Lorna McGee played it on a recital. Oh my gosh! Like, I think that was a transformative experience because one, I couldn't believe she'd want to play this on a recital, and two, the way she shaped and masterfully, like you heard that chaconne, and you heard it in all of the variations. And then she did it and made this stuff seem like it was just
Piece of cake.
Yeah, no problem. So that was a magical experience. I never thought I'd say that about Cargillard, but it really was. So two things I heard, like you brilliant technique, you good sound. Sometimes I know you're just bringing it out, but
No.
I wanted to hear like your fingers are moving faster than your sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will have myself.
Yeah, so I think, you could play it a little slower. You could play it a little slower, in your mind at least, and take the time so that we hear the sound and the fingers moving together. Because sometimes it just sounded like the sound was behind the fingers.
Yeah.
So
I
let's
definitely felt that.
yeah. So let's work the end because I think that's where fatigue sets in. And when are you playing this for something else? Or you
I'm
bust
not.
it out for.
I bust things out all. I don't
Okay,
know.
well let's start here because this where's a better place to start? Well, here we're forte, so let's do that. Let's do that first line. And you're playing. Yeah, dee da da, and we're gonna just try something really quickly here.
Yeah.
We're gonna. And just the kind of thing we did with cadence. Can you feel that air is connecting through the notes? So I'm not thinking F, C. I'm thinking about that connection of the air between the notes.
Yeah.
I'll try. Yeah, and can you let the air do the work and not your body? Yes. So what do you notice you're doing with your head a little bit as you get done?
It
Yeah.
tends to go down. Yeah.
Can you trust your air and your lips to direct it? So I think I do this too, Clarissa. Like I get in my own way as a player. How many of you do this? Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get in our own way, and I get so you'll see it if my fiance gets here. You'll see it. And I just it cracked. Well, of course you cracked.
Yeah.
So let you have a powerful sound. So let the air do the work. Set on your feet. That was another thing. And I notice this a lot because I do it. But can you let the base of your body be your power and your base, your stability, so that you don't, if you have this, different, yeah?
Yeah.
Trust it. Yeah, so you're trusting your body, but you're still like
Holding back a little bit.
yeah. And even when you don't hold back, you roll in.
Yeah.
The first bit was awesome. Like you trusted your air, your body was nice and stable and powerful, and you didn't win, but you know. Okay, so take your time. Again, it sounds powerful, even if you don't feel like you're going as fast as you need to. Try one more time. Think about like keeping that just keep it. I went forward. Yep. Good. Okay, so a trick for this that might be helpful is when you have these descending lines where you end up on a low C or a low whatever. What I like to do is figure out where I need to place the air for the lowest note. So in this bit here, our lowest note, we've got F, E flat, D flat, C. So that's going to be our lowest note in this little passage. Can you find where you need to place the angle of the air for the C and the speed of the air for your most resonant C? Yeah, so we're going to even leave out all the stuff at the top. We're just going to focus on that low C. Good. And once you find that placement and angle for the C, you're going to leave the air there for the ones above it. Good. Now we're going to go back up and do the same thing. We know C is our lowest note, so D flat should keep the air there for the D flat 2 track. Good. Next one. Good. And the last one. Good. Let's try the whole passage now.
So much easier.
I think, flute players were usually really smart, little type A maybe, really driven and work hard. And so we want to work hard. Relax. Yeah, so we work really hard to get it right. I'm just getting it right. Just get it right. And then it creates problems. So if you can think a little bit more like a scientist sometimes, and okay, here's the issue. I'm cracking on the low notes. Why am I cracking on the low notes? And in your case, what was happening?
Yeah, I was
Kind
of going down into it, and that makes you
and going down into it is good. I love blowing down.
maybe
like,
going down this way, like
Yes, squats. He was talking about squats. We do squats in my studio all the time. I have a balance ball in my studio, and we like do squats on the balance ball, which is a whole next level. Have you done this before?
We just squat.
Yeah, if you do you need good quads there. Yeah, so if you squat on a balance ball too, that kind of gives you balance, and then that's the next level, like kind of quad workout.
Absolutely.
But I would encourage you to do that, because even in spots like this, let's go down here next, right? Where's our lowest note? It's like a C again. Okay, so remember where you've placed it, and let's go from here. But remember, we want to hear, if you can hear in your ear where your next notes are coming from. So when you're playing, do you feel like you hear where the line is going, or are you blowing and moving your fingers?
I think when I'm in the practice room and I'm like, yes, and then in front of people you're like,
yes,
you're getting really vertical.
Yeah. But
You
here, if you lead with your ears instead of the flute, it's a lot easier. So, can you sing it all? I do. Oh, perfect. Yeah. So what do we got? Yeah. So can you sing like this whole little bit here before you play it? Yeah.
I don't know if I can like sing the right pitches that fast.
So even if you don't sing it fast, you aim for the accuracy of the pitches in your voice. Beautiful. Good. Okay, now I want you to play it, but I don't want you to move your fingers until you hear the next note that has to happen. All right, and it could be a series of notes, but you hear it in your ear before you move your fingers.
Nice and slow.
so how did that feel?
It's good. I was being a little bit robotic because I was like, make sure I can hear it. But yeah.
So this is a really fun thing to do in the practice room when you're working on technical things and you feel like you don't have enough. It's not your technique, right? Your fingers move really fast, Clarissa. And for most of us, our fingers move pretty fast. If you spend your time doing scales and Taffel and Gobert, they move fast. The issue is that the ears are not like as fast as the fingers, and it's actually faster. But we don't ever use them. Like, because we're flutists and we just like move fast. But if you can hear technical passages, if you can hear them in your ear, if you can sing them even without the flute, it's going to make the technique much clearer. And the sound in the technique will be, the sound in the fingers will align. So that will sound much more brilliant, even if you don't go as fast.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does.
Yeah, because if you listen to somebody like Laura McGee, have you ever met her or had a class with her or anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
Oh my gosh, she is amazing. And when you listen to her play, it sounds effortless. It just sounds like she's not even working. But she will tell you, I did a master class with her in British Columbia one summer. After I'd been teaching a while, and I was like, I'm pretty burned out. And she's my flute, a fangirl over Laura McGee. So she had a lot of tension problems, and she had a lot of like issues with constriction in her sound. So she started studying Alexander technique. So playing with freedom is not something that comes naturally to her. It's something that she's worked with. But she talks a lot about how, the rolling in and the body position. But when she plays, her technique, even if she's not playing, like if she didn't, when she played it, she didn't play it as fast as you did. But it sounded as fast as you did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably much clearer, yeah.
Well,
I mean, like
Laura
her brain and her
Yeah.
mind and her air were
all
in
one. And I think that's something to strive for in the practice room. So whether you're playing your scales or your Taffel and Gobert, if you can always be feeling and hearing and spinning the air at the same time. It's like a juggler. We got to do all those things at the same time, which is hard because I know when I get in there, I'm like, okay, da 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 da. Like keep it in time, keep the fingers even.
Yeah.
But if you can do that now when they're still young, it's going to be good. Let's see. Yeah, I think I would just. And it says fortissimo. Yeah, but it's fortissimo con molto silencio. What does that mean?
I wish I could tell you, and I'm a doctoral student, so I should be able to tell you more.
Silencio.
Silencio.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're gonna, number one pro tip, translate the terms, because
Yes.
that's gonna be really helpful. Like, it's in German and Italian.
I
So,
know. What am I doing?
I could tell you, but I'm not going to, because
No.
it's part of the discovery process, right? Like,
Yeah.
just figuring out, because I don't think you need to play it quite as fast as you do.
Yeah.
So let's try that from here, one more time. And this time, slow down,
Yeah.
right? Do all the phrasing that you want to do, but do it in a way that, like, we know you can play all the notes. You're like,
Yeah.
you are a boss flute player, like, get it. But find the shape and find the direction. Yeah. All right, how did that feel that time?
Much better.
What was different for you as a player?
Just I could feel the sound and the fingerings moving together instead of my mind being behind my fingers or vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a
Locked in, I
listener,
guess.
as a listener, so what are some comments from her very first performance to what she just did now in this section? Comments, so go for it.
She's more relaxed, and then that made her sound like fuller.
Yeah. What other things did you hear?
But there's like, especially at the end, there's so many notes and they're kind of, it can sound like arbitrary, but then it felt really intentional.
Yes. Okay, good. These are awesome. Other comments. Welcome. What's your name? Giselle, welcome. Dr. Ballatori. Jack.
On like the arpeggios down and also on, the ascending figures, it's way clearer. I can hear every note. And sometimes when the brother just follows through note to note, which makes things sound more connected, just fills the room more.
Yeah. So this is what we're aiming for. And I think a lot of times as flutists, we do obsess about all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
But finding the musical solution is always in the body, it's in the air, it's in the ears, and it's in your intention. So somehow to put that all in a...
I mean, this is fantastic news. Go slower. Like, I'll take it. Like,
But it doesn't sound slower.
It doesn't.
No, it sounds much cleaner and more brilliant, right? Technique. My teacher at England, this Peter Lloyd, the one I told you who played the Princess Leia theme, he was really tall and he was amazing. He was the kindest, gentlest person I'd ever met. But his students were brilliant. And when I was there, I was in the middle of my doctorate, but there were 18-year-olds who were playing like amazingly well. And every time he talked about technique, he never talked about the fast. It was always about sound, and it was always about the phrasing of the technique. So when we did Tafel and Gobert number 4, it was like we worked on the phrasing a lot. And eventually your fingers do move fast, right? But first it had to be beautiful. And I think that's really important, especially in something like this, where anything that you're playing has tons and tons of notes and just like
Something that I was upset in my mind about is I'd practice dun, but then when I was doing the performance, I went, "Why are you not going softer?" And it's because my mind and my fingers were disconnecting themselves.
Let's
did
go back there then.
redeem myself.
Yeah, you did super.
Now that we're putting our mind and our fingers together.
Yes. Where's a good place to start? You want to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Same with this part. I felt like I just fluffed through it, but it needs to be like dun.
Yeah,
you
So here, what could be really helpful there too are I like to use vowel shapes, and you sing. So have you taken are you an actual singer or?
Yeah,
you just,
I actually am their jazz vocalist and flute player here.
Okay, sweet, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't sing, but I use vowel shapes a lot.
You're gonna make me sing this whole thing.
No, we're gonna work on vowel
Sing
shapes.
that.
no,
Sing
we're gonna
that.
just work on some vowel shapes. So, do you talk about vowel shapes in like how they relate to dynamics or tone color?
Yeah, like sometimes, like especially if in high soprano, they might do like like raise the back of the palate. I guess you'd say.
So yes, like manipulating sort of the vowel shapes inside of the mouth. Let's try. I'll say ah. So when you say ah, what do you notice moving inside of your mouth? Like your soft palate, your tongue, anything. What do you notice moving? Ah.
I feel like the back of the tongue kind of goes up or down a little bit actually.
And what happens to sort of the back of the throat there?
Like allows room or space.
Yeah. Now if we compare that to E, say E, how does that shape differ from ah?
Makes the back of the tongue go up.
Yeah. So if we're playing with sound, right? Like on a high E, if we're thinking, you can hear the difference. I went from ah to E, and like it killed my E, right? So, but in certain dynamics and certain colors that we're trying to achieve, those different syllables will give us make moving from sort of sforzando to pianissimo a little easier.
Yeah.
So especially when you're moving fast like that. So try just that on the ooh shape in the mouth. Yeah, and can you maintain that ooh shape as you play the? Don't worry about the dynamics. I'm just trying to make everything pianissimo on an ooh shape. Yeah. So now, let's try. When you get to the pianissimos, you can try to try a little bigger. Yeah, you're like stomping on it. You just give it a little bit of a loving push. Not. you go through this and identify the spots where you know you hear the Chicago notes, and think about how you would play them musically if you were not having to have all these other notes in between. So play those tenuto notes by themselves. Good. Now we're gonna add the. I'll play the Chicago notes, and you play the others. Ready? Ready? Good. And you'll do it in time together. Do it by yourself, but this time you're gonna think about two people playing. Great. Yeah. And again, we always worry about the diddles, but the diddles are not the important ones.
Yeah. Did you do like the alternate there with the? I mean, just move all the fingers in. Yeah. So you just hold the first.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Is it better to take off the right?
Whatever works for you. So there are a lot of different. No, I don't think it. So, my beginnings as a flutist were a little bit rocky. So it took me a little while to like get better. I started at 9. It was terrible, and then my mom didn't let me quit. So by the time I was 13, I had a teacher. But I started everything pretty late, and I've had every problem you could imagine as a flutist. So I've also.
Don't sound.
Well,
you got invited.
but
great.
I've worked really hard.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is like in the process, I've learned there are many different ways to do things as a flutist, and what works for one person may not work for another. But that doesn't make it wrong. I mean, there are some things that are just wrong. You should not do. But if the alternate fingering works for you, do it. If it if it works for you, if it helps the intonation, it helps your fingers, it makes you feel more comfortable, do it. If it messes with the intonation or it makes it sound bad, don't do it.
But I've been living my life right now.
Yeah, and I think as you know, there are certain fundamentals and foundations that are they're there for a reason. But for alternate fingering, some people are like, oh, I never use alternate finger. Blah. Do them. Do you like it? Do it. I wouldn't use it, but I learned it without it, and maybe like now, how are you doing it then?
I don't know. There's a. You can do that.
Oh.
Just keeping it right.
Oh. I like it.
Yeah?
You like it?
Yeah.
Do it.
I didn't know if it made a difference because sometimes people are like, they can hear like a pin drop. They're like, you're putting your right hand down on the.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to do it because it makes your life easier, then you have to make sure that it sounds as good as it would do if it didn't. That's the rub there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we
So
can
let's
go
go on.
over
My pianist is in Tempe, right? So
I'm like, I think she's trying to get here, so I'm just kind of like, let's go on to the next variation. Let's go on to the next.
She should be here. She was supposed to be here at 1:15. Okay. Well,
Sweet.
and if Giselle or Jack.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody.
Does anybody else?
has
Are you
something.
flutist as well? Oh, and what's her name?
And Josh.
Josh. And if anybody else would like to play, my pianist, she's probably somewhere.
No, it's okay.
But let's get through this and then we'll do from there.
It's good to work.
That's great. Oh, sound too good. Okay, so why
I
did you
went
crack?
like this. I went like
Yeah,
this.
you did one like this, like this. Yeah, so here is another place where you're trying to play soft and high. I would try to keep as ooey gooey in front of the mouth as possible. So it's like a high, okay? So Can you all say p? P. P. Not poo, right? P. 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 Yeah, so we're going to try to attack it with no tongue, just a p. Oh, not like that. So this is a really great way to practice. Do you have that book, the Technique of the Embouchure by Philippe Bernold? Do you have that one, Brian?
You have so many.
He's on his phone call.
Admin meeting too. Hey, you know about Phillips?
Yeah. Do you have those books?
We don't have it there, but, you know, we shall. So,
Yeah, oh, okay.
So, you know, we talk
So-
about the same.
But this pit exercise is in there, and I had never seen it written anywhere. My teacher in England, Peter, used it with us all the time. I guess it came from Brown Pal or somebody, but it's a really great way to get those muscles in the front of our mouth, like the center muscles, to work for us, and to kind of train them. So if you tried just a couple A's, and this puff, puff, puff. Yeah, so then when you come here, eventually you use your tongue, right? It's
That's
gonna
right.
use your, now put your tongue, it should be easier.
It's like going from
Yeah, so what it helps you do is get those muscles used to where
going
they,
from
right, yeah. And some people are like, oh, it's just gonna make my arms tight. It doesn't. If you do it correctly, like it just keeps it nice and loose, and it's a great way to give them some exercise. Good. So this is another clip, since we're still waiting for my pianist. When you get to the low register, I love that it's like deep and it's crunchy. I love it. But it doesn't always fit, right? The color doesn't match what's happening up here. So
Yeah.
can you be, if you're gonna be gentle up here, can you keep that color as you go down? Try it. Ah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Now do it your way, which is also equally as beautiful. Yeah, because if it,
because it's going into that, I think my mind starts being like,
well, I guess it doesn't say piano, right? It says forte.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
But
that's true. I
Can't
guess.
it does? But can you keep that? Can you keep that big sound that you have down here? You're gonna have to start with it. That's my point. So if
I
you're gonna
see.
keep this soft, it doesn't say either way which way to go. But if you're gonna keep this soft, then this has to match.
Oh.
And if you're gonna keep this nice and crunchy and dark,
It's gonna be.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Up
gonna
there.
match. And I think you could make anything work. He's not very clear here about what to do, but you have sort of artistic liberty, I think, to do what feels good. But whatever it is, be consistent with it and make a decision. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try it from there. Actually, go do it to both ways. Do it like dark and
Crazy.
forte and like Clarissa sound in there. Okay, now we're gonna get crazy and be forte and then soft and gentle until you get to yeah. Okay. See what you like.
Ooh, trying to make that difference.
Yeah, I mean experimenting with it. If you hate it, yeah. So if you hate it, you can always change it. But having an idea. Oh, there she is. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Kashiwagi. This is my piano colleague at the University of Arkansas. So, yeah. So again, experiment. You have brilliant technique and a beautiful sound, but I would encourage you to like listen. Yeah,
Yeah.
and think about how you're using your body. Any questions about anything we did?
No, this is great. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Any
Glad we
questions
had lots
from
of fun.
the gallery about anything we did today? Okay. So thank you for playing. I
Thanks
think
for
now,
coaching me.
yes. So now, Dr. Kashiwagi and I, we're going to play a little bit for you. So we are on our way to New Mexico, actually. So we are doing a concert for the New Mexico Flute Association on Saturday, and they asked me to go and do the concert in New Mexico. Okay. And I asked Tomoko if she could come with us. So this is actually the first time we're playing in public together with a recital. So we're going to do just a little bit of that program. So the first piece we'll play is Claude Arvieu's Sonatina. Have anybody played this before? Her name, actually, she's a female. Her pen name was Claude Arvieu, but her real name was Marie-Louise Simon. So this is a great piece if you teach. If any of you end up teaching like intermediate students, the first movement is really accessible for younger students. It's beautiful, it's charming, female composer. The second piece on the program is probably one that I've learned, know pretty well. William Lithicum, Black Horses, Sounds of Water. That's It's the second piece in our program. And we're a little short on time, so we'll probably only play one movement from Samuel Zeman's first sonata. Yeah, you do like that one? That's my favorite one. He wrote 2 sonatas. Have you played it? Yeah. So the first movement, we'll probably just play the first movement because we again, not pleased. So thank you for being an awesome audience. But we'll go ahead and start with our new sonatine, and then William Lithcomb Black Horse's Sounds of Water, and then we'll see how much time we have and if we want to do about the yeah. All right.
It's a little twitchy right now. I just raced from Timby, going like, I need to be there at.
No, it's good. So what time is this? We'll even cut it short if we need to. So
Whatever you like. Would you like a more austere staging lighting, or?
No, this is fine.
Okay.
yeah, we'll just play a little bit for you. But thank you for being a great audience, and thank you for having us here.
Sure.
We
We're
really
talking
appreciate
about degrees right now.
I know. Dr. Moose was there. I'm going to be on a conference call while you're teaching your mind. I'm like, that's totally fine. You guys.
They're used to the multitasking.
Let me play a couple more.
Yes. All right.
I did a MasterClass for collaborative piano students from 9 to 11 and then started driving. So my brain is a little bit like trucks and cars and police and
Piano is totally different. So after we come here, tomorrow we'll drive to Las Cruces, New Mexico, and then then we'll drive to Albuquerque. So we've been spending a lot of time on the road together, and it's great having wonderful colleagues because you never know.
you never know here right now. So we'll find out. Sorry, I just need to stretch.
So this first sonatina has just 3 movements. There's no break in between the movements. And they're very short. It's about 6 minutes piece altogether. It was written in 1943 during World War II when the Germans were occupying France. And it was premiered by Rampal on Public Radio France in 1944. And it was one of the pieces, she wrote a ton. She wrote a ton for radio, she wrote a ton of chamber music and solo pieces. But this piece in particular became sort of her pop hit during 1944. And you can hear why. It's really charming and lovely. You want to play?
I'll warm up in here. Sorry.
I was doing yoga all morning because I feel like we've been driving and traveling a lot. It was all in knots. It was all right.
Hello.
So here's some. Hello, friend. Okay, so the first move is Allegro Moderato. Here we go. Water by William Lithcomb Blackhorse. This is in 3 movements with no stop in between. So we've got the first movement is rippling water, the second is rapid water, and the third is the shore. So when he talked about his piece, he talked about this piece being a description of life's journey through water. So here we go with rippling waters.
Yeah, our wind ensemble recently played this one.
That's what Dr. Luce said.
Ooh.
It was only a couple weeks ago, wasn't it? Or like
Yes, I know because I'm in the wind ensemble.
Yeah. So this was originally for flute and piano, and then I think Dr. Luce premiered the piece for flute and wind ensemble. No?
Probably.
He maybe did. Yeah, because there's like a new arrangement for flute and wind ensemble. I am curious. I've not heard it with wind ensemble yet, but
It's interesting. There's a whole water machine and everything.
oh, so that's very cool. I'll have to listen. Was there a recording of it?
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, this is just with flute and piano, but I'm curious to hear the wind ensemble version. It's a beautiful piece. We were trying to figure out rep for this concert in New Mexico, and Tomoko was like, "Oh, I like this one." So
I like it. It's beautiful.
minutes.
7 minutes?
I pass it off if you want.
High pass on. Okay, we're gonna do the last movement of the Zeman Sonata. I think it's 2 minutes, so.
2 minutes.
It's high, it's fast, it's loud.
2 minutes. Last movement. Okay. Last movement, right? Okay.
All right.
Got it.
Third movement.
Third movement.
Okay. thanks for being our test bunnies today. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks again for coming. You all play so well, and it was so lovely to hear you. Thank you again.
Well, special thanks, you know. Want to make sure I'm not
We need to take a
speaker for
studio
them.
picture.
Anyway.
Oh, we need to take a picture. I am so bad with the social media. Like,
Yeah, come on, get it.
Brian, can you text
I'm
me
gonna
the photos?
receive
Because I won't have them here. Oh. You know? Oh. We didn't even plan that.
Here, one of you strapping lads kind of take care of the feng shui here so we have a
Oh,
nice.
sorry. Should we take it this way so we don't have, like, oh, sorry, oh my jump. Should we go over by tomorrow? We're over on the side.
We need to do matching red or something. since
No,
the
we're
red is
good.
our-
Oh, all right.
All right, everyone say merci, Monsieur Tafanel. Excellent, fantastic. And now everyone needs to squat. There we go. That's it. That's the one. Perfect.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ballatori.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Playing like I could express myself, but I mean, they did not. Yeah, no, not at all. The crowd is really good. No, I've just worked really hard.
Let me grab a picture. I don't, it might end up on Zoom. So I keep the fluid out, just
Oh, yeah.
prove to your faculty we're doing, all right, we'll take this out, so at least I don't have this.
Yeah, all the angles are good. Oh, goodness, thank you. Well, you sound really good. Just good luck to you. Good luck to you as well.
I'm in the pro shop if you need to doctors.
Oh, then of course there was the pro shop percent. Okay, got it.
Right. Sorry, we were talking about recruiting and not the recruiting first.
Oh, no, I thought you told me. So, no, it's totally fine. Thank you again for letting me come.
Oh, no, absolutely. You know, thank you for coming and thanks to Burkhart. Yeah. I should have put that down. I should make that so Lillian feels happy.
I think Ethan's out for Saturday. Saturday, like, you like, yeah, it's totally.
Well, now, are you heading down the way?
I'm not sure what our next plan is. Where are we going next? We're driving, no, we're not driving tonight, we're driving tomorrow, right? Yeah. Driving tomorrow. So what recommendations do you have for good food? Because we will go have a nice dinner tonight. Where is there a good place?
So you're still in town then? I would join you, but I have to coach a ball game. And you don't want to eat your bad nachos off the roof. What do you want? Do you want some more? Well, so I mean, actually, my family restaurant, which is Sonora, Mexico, is it's a little bit further north towards Phoenix, I-10. It's probably about either before 4 or after 5:30. Like a 12-minute drive. It's a place called Nan's Kitchen. You can tell they have loading, and they, if you like carne asada or you like, you know, it's pretty traditional. And that's a hometown place, and there's plenty of places that are like downtown, if you can see the downtown area, that are like the original chimichanga is El Chavo, which is in Spanish, a little bit, which is kind of a nice bar over in the field there, if you like that.
Yes, this is.
I don't know, there's you know, or steak and that kind of stuff. I mean, we are gastronomic destination city. You know, we have that from, so I mean, it could be nice. Yeah, bananas, and apostrophe S, bananas. I mean, but yeah, the Terran family, yeah, you say Brian, and they'll say, oh, the Mutai guy. No, I mean, we get a musician, you know. Yeah, they're just good folks, and if you like tequilas or something, they actually sell it to a license if you're interested in tasting or something, or whoever's driving, right, that too. There you go. Gotcha. So, but bravo, yeah, I wanted to make sure I heard at least the end of Will's speech, speaking to that one.
They normally
Oh,
leave like a
you're wet to the page.
sheet that has.
So, you know, it's just kind of your fluid area is wet. You know, you don't get to see that. You know, but you have to keep it in.
That's the best guess until they get here. And then.
Do we?
Yeah, I don't know about looking over the ones.
Oh yeah, we do.
I grew up from I don't have dry skin. I never got my wife lived in North and all that stuff. It's those genes, you know. 14,000 people, my people have been living on this dirt, so it's just, you know, it's fun. Well, thanks, and I heard great things. Someone told me about MasterClass, fantastic, so.
Oh, that's what it's.